It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, and it was the season of darkness. We had everything before us, and we had nothing before us. In short, the period was quite like our very own, where the noisiest of authorities insisted on it being received in the superlative degree of comparison only. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Today I, Vanshika, Maan, stand before you all to present my views on the topic, the Whale of Democracy. This piece by Charles Dickens was written years ago, but for better or for worse, it still holds true. It is quite frustrating to notice that democracy as a concept is deceptively easy to understand. But when turned to reality, it has the power to become the best tool for political hypocrites and the worst nightmare for the lovers of utopia. And for those left in between, it's just another day at work. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the key protectors of this whale of democracy. The whale of democracy has been perpetuated by the whale of ignorance, which might seem quite ironic considering that we live in an age of information. But we cannot forget that a large proportion of this information is controlled by governments which allow citizens access to it. Moving on to the next sensational news is the new normal for those fortunate enough to have a free media, and moving on to the next soap operas produced by national governments is the new normal for the rest of the world. And the question that we, the citizens of a democratic nation, face today is about the authenticity of a governance system which controls our very lives. And as we discuss this grave issue, around 10,552 people have been arrested under the draconian UAPA. More than 10,000 people are languishing in jails in Hong Kong because their protest for a democratic nation was considered anti-national by their governments. And India has slipped from 24th in 2014 to 53rd in 2020 in the IU's Democracy Index. What we see today is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to violation of democratic values around the world today. Dissent, ladies and gentlemen, forms the foundation of any democratic setup, and this very ideal is on the verge of extinction today. The finest example of which would be our very own country, which boasts a ruling party which seems to have been born to force dissent at every step possible by using laws like sedition, UAPA, and preventive detention at their own whims and fancies. What pains me the most is that democracy is nothing more than a mere facade if the rights of its citizens are violated at every word of criticism. And this culture of suppressing dissent and criticism has been spreading faster and has claimed more lives than the COVID-19 pandemic itself. But the question right now that begs to be answered is that, is a whale all that is left of democracy today? To which my answer would be a big no. Because democracy as a governance system has still not lost its value, and because people are there fighting for its survival. Be the Black Lives Matter protest in the United States of America, or the Russians gathering in thousands and protesting against the election of their beloved President Vladimir Putin. There are people in the world who are fighting for the survival of democracy as a governance system. And these political protests are a testimony to that. When I was young, I believed that words have meaning. But now that I've grown up, I've realized that words have power. The power to build strength where there did not seem to be any. The power to fight for an ideal that is the essence of my life and of yours. And although the whale of democracy does seem a little bit translucent, it is still not opaque and is still worth fighting for, because I have often heard people say that the deepest and darkest places in hell are reserved for those who maintain neutrality in the times of a moral crisis. The democratic setup of the contemporary nation-states does indeed seem like a mask for an uncontrolled moral chaos. And ladies and gentlemen, I, like many of them fighting for democracy, have no wish to go to hell. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice day.